Hello, good morning, I am here. Of course, my computer always decides to act up and be extremely slow to start on the mornings when I have stream. And of course, this morning I was like, oh, it's fine. I can have breakfast. It doesn't take my computer that long to boot up. And then, of course, today, it takes that long to boot up. Good morning, Elrad. Good morning, Yao. Oh no, I've been booped. The scandal. The sheer scandal. Is this the correct needle? Is this the non-bent needle? Yes, this is the non-bent needle. Morning, Randus. Need to upgrade my computer. That would be nice. Oh, good lord. 6 solid state drives, even I know that's a lot. Thread? Yeah, probably. I'm definitely also awake. Definitely didn't spend an extra, 10 minutes laying in bed. Past what I should have. Oh, very pink. Okay. Okay. Slightly lighter pink and still angy. The 6 SSD is what you have in yours? Oh. Nifty. I have whatever came standard on my laptop. I don't even know. I mean, I could probably check somewhere. It makes worry noises. I'm gonna guess that's just a disk hard drive. So we're almost, well, sort of almost done. So we're almost done with the color for this block, and then we'll start on the ring of white around the outside. Only 10 extra minutes? I mean, if I didn't have anything to get up for, it probably would have been longer. I laid in bed for 10 minutes beyond where I should have already gotten up. Which is another part of the reason why I'm late. But I was like, it's fine. I probably don't know. RAID configurations have multiplicative effects on read-write performance. Oh, so if a solid-state drive is 10 times faster than an HDD, a RAID 0 of 6 SSDs is 60 times faster. Okay. Interesting. I did not know that. I presumed it had something to do with ability to run WoW and FF14. And that is about the extent of my technological knowledge. I mean, okay, that's fair, Kite. I enjoy the simplicity since I am not a more tech-literate person. But yes, everything has, variables to it. Oh man, a computer that boots in seconds sounds like a myth, to be honest. Smash cut to me half an hour ago, staring at a lighted but black screen, sighing and holding down Control-Alt-Delete to get it to bring up the prompt so that I could actually enter my PIN and unlock the computer. Usually it's pretty good. Usually I just open the laptop and within a few seconds it'll bring up the lock screen and then I just have to unlock it. Sometimes it's stubborn. Also, that's just read-write. Processor speed is a lot more important when it comes to actually running things. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Also, like, GPU and all that. Like, I sort of know things. The slowest part of your PC boot is the GRUB, which I don't know what that stands for, waiting 5 seconds to ask if you want to use recovery mode. The rest of the boot on average takes 4.6 seconds. Yeah, that sounds miraculous. But again, I don't like I like all of you guys have to use your computers for work. I don't. I just have a personal recreational machine, I suppose. And I don't have the funds for that kind of a kit out. But yeah, those sound amazing. And like literally mythical. You don't use this for work? Oh, fair. Oh yeah, right, because you go into the office. For some reason I was thinking all of you were work from home, but you're not. Can't use this machine for work because it is not company supplied. Oh, that would also make sense. Fair point. Read-write is important for aspects of video games like loading screens because that's where it's pre-caching a lot of data. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, as soon as you guys said that, that does make sense. Duh. Of course, most companies aren't going to let you use your personal computer for work. Especially not in a tech-focused job. Duh. See also my earlier statement about not quite being awake yet. Let's just hope I'm awake enough to sew accurately without making some sort of a disastrous error. But then again, that's what seam rippers are for. Tech consulting is always fun because you typically work off of client-supplied VDIs, which are virtual computers you remote connect to, and it's always a coin flip as to whether they actually allocate enough resources for what you need to. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, fun. The company security stuff on your work computer really bogs it down. Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. My work computer is really good for what I need it to do because all I need it to do is run Office and Teams and emails and our proprietary POS software, which is so clunky. I feel like a computer from the 80s could probably run it because that's what it was written on, or at least that's what it feels like it was written on. Yeah, good morning, Kitsune. We are discussing the intricacies of computer things. Because my computer took forever to wake up this morning. Is Hopebot asleep? Morning, Dobby. I am mostly awake. I think that's true for all proprietary POS software that companies still use. Yeah, I mean, it's still being like actively updated. Like I'm in constant contact with the software team because I need to ask them like, fix this, or this error came up, what does it mean? Or like, I need to find this information, what report do I run? Because I'm still fairly new on the job. But like, yeah, it's our POS software and our like we're no longer on Twitch. Oh dear. No. I feel like the fact that I'm live on Twitch kind of says differently. What was I saying? Oh, it runs our POS touchscreens. Like I go in and literally program the buttons and what they look like so that our cashiers can punch them in. But because of that, it's also our database for like all of our menu items and the things that we sell. And let me tell you, it mostly works for what we need it to do. It is not always the most graceful software. Like I'm not saying I could do better. I'm just saying they could do better. It is obtuse at times. Like I miss the databasing software at my old job. You should add debugging Twitch to your list of things to do. Man, if you can debug all of Twitch, you would be many people's heroes. Major complaint you have about point of sale systems, they're one of the main factors that keep Windows 7 embedded running on networks you support. Yeah, that's fair. I will say that they have upgraded ours so that it runs on Windows 10, which is fantastic. You have worked out why you can't log into Twitch, sort of? I mean, that's more than Twitch support could do. So that's something. The other fun thing about our POS software, and I think I've mentioned this before, is because we're a college and we're running the meal plan systems off of it as well. Like students have to be able to pay with their meal plan rather than just like debit or credit or whatever. The software that we ended up going with is technically the software that would be used at like it was designed for like retirement home cafeterias, but it has a meal plan system built into it, which I think is why it was originally chosen. So it's really interesting because occasionally I'll have to contact support and be like, how do I wrangle the system that wasn't designed to be used at a college into what I need it to do to be able to have it run at a college? Morning, Merlin. I think we're all still waking up. Ah yes, D&D notes with actual spoiler tags because there are in fact now secrets. Oh no. Concerns. Yeah, if you're totally awake, you're definitely in the right place. We can all be totally absolutely awake together. In fact, if it tells you how very awake I am, usually during oh hey Hopebot, welcome back. Generally during my streams I'm drinking tea. This morning I opted for coffee. Can be pretty safe in the knowledge that Kite wouldn't put the party in danger. That is true. But I do also notice that you specify Kite and not Light. But yes, that is very true. Kite is invested in the party continuing to exist. Kitsune has gifted a sub to Hopebot. Thank you, Kitsune. That feels arbitrary, but awesome. Thank you. Light would totally put the party in danger by trying to not kill things. They've already done that a bunch. That is true. That is a fair judgment. So yeah, I guess since we're kind of edging around it, I can roll into the D&D recap. Since I think all of the invested parties are here that are not already part of the session. This is true. Light is one of the bad decision cats. So let's see. So after 2 solid sessions of combat, yesterday was quite chill. It was great. So when we had ended the previous session, the other is absolutely Glint. Glint is the #1 bad decision cat. When we had ended the previous session, we had just finished combat with a whole lot of orcs and a handful of ogres. And Bram and Glint had run over to where they had last seen Light and found Light sprawled out on the ground, passed out, but breathing. Above table, we know that Light died, that they failed all of their death saves. But none of the characters in game actually know that because Light was out of sight. So as far as Bram and the others are concerned, they just found Light passed out. So Bram, of course, wakes them up, gets them stabilized, restores a few hit points. And then when Light wakes up and opens their eyes, they have pitch black eyes, which is strange and not normal. So of course they're like, Light, are you okay? How are you feeling? Is everything okay? And Light is like, oh yeah, I had a really weird dream, but I feel fine. So Bram, out of concern, activated his divine sense, which is one of his god-blessed paladin powers, which would allow him to sense the presence of the hollow spell, so like if a place has been consecrated. And then also to be able to sense any undead, celestials, or fiends within, I think it's 60 feet. And he's standing right in front of Light when he does it, because he's mildly concerned about pitch black eyes. And immediately he can tell that the shrine itself is still hallowed. Like, it's never, presumably because it's a shrine, it was at some point hallowed and the spell was never taken off. So it is still hallowed ground. And that's all he senses. So as of this moment, Light is not undead. Or if they are, it's somehow hidden from Bram's and Bahamut's senses, which would be interesting. Don't actually know if that's possible or not, but for the moment, Bram is pretty certain that Light is not undead, which is good. So they're kind of, Light was kind of in like a little ruined, like sheltered base of a tower. So they stick their heads out and call for everybody else. Oh, totally possible. Great. Via high spell levels. Okay, that makes sense. I figured it would be possible. But yeah, it would take a lot of power. Okay. So they stuck their heads out and called the others over and is like, hey, we don't hear anything moving around. There's nothing else immediately coming at us. Let's, everybody come in here. It's relatively sheltered. Let's at least try to rest and regroup a little bit. So we took a short rest. As we took a short rest, Merrick used Song of Rest, which was fantastic, and Light used their cook tools and some rations to make us some food, which was fantastic. Would you say a godly or an ungodly amount of power? Probably either one, honestly. I feel like that effect could be achieved either way. Yeah. So we took a short rest, restored some HP. While we were resting, we asked Light, like, hey, what's going on with your eyes? Are you sure you're feeling all right? And Light was like, what? What do you mean, my eyes? And so they looked into a pan of water to try to see what we meant. And then just kind of got zoned out, stuck staring at themselves. Which isn't concerning at all. I'm sure it's fine. But after we took our rest, we decided the next course of action would be to actually clear the whole shrine area, make sure no one else was lurking around, that there wasn't anything else waiting to jump us, essentially. Yeah, don't even worry about it. It's fine. So Bram started gathering up all of the orc bodies and ogre bodies into one pile. Phalar and Glint Phalar and Glint started gathering wood and such to build a pyre for the orcs, because there were just way too many, and the ogres were so big, like we were not gonna be able to bury all those. So we started gathering them up in a pile. Meanwhile, Narthian and Merrick went to walk the entire outside perimeter around the shrine, again, just to kind of clear it and make sure there was nothing super suspicious that stood out. And Light kind of wandered off and went into the shrine to do some more exploration inside. We knew that there had been at least one orc up in the tower section of the shrine that was still standing, because they had been hurling javelins at us from up there. And they were the one that Light and Narthian shot dead at the very, very tail end of the last session. They were the sniper. So we knew there was at least one orc that had been hanging around up there. So Light went to investigate that. Um, Inside the shrine, found the actual like shrine sanctuary chapel, I guess is what you would call it. Um, Absolutely like coated in dust. Like it was clear the orcs hadn't really been using this room probably. Um, it was just like absolutely loaded with dust. There was an altar at one end and a few, like four extremely skeletalized bodies laying around the altar in like the tattered remains of priestly vestments. So it looked like they had just kind of been left where they had fallen. So Light very carefully skirted around them, because there was a ladder off to the side that they suspected led up to that tower. So they headed up to the tower, found the orc sniper, with vines still tangled around him, which was strange because the magical vines that erupted from the arrow that Light shot were magical vines and should have like disappeared, but no, they were still there. Like they were super withered and like starting to dry out and crackle up, but they hadn't disappeared the way that they should have. But nobody else knows this because Light did not tell the rest of us about that later on. So that is something for Light to ponder and figure out what that may or may not mean. And so meanwhile, the rest of us had met up again. Merrick and Narthian had made their entire circuit. Narthian had found like a really old, I'm putting my hands like this, but it's much larger. A very old iron bell that looks like it would have fit up in the bell tower, which is also still standing. But it wasn't in the bell tower, it was down on the ground, and so Narthian was like, huh, that's strange, and kind of poked it a bit. They hadn't seen anything moving. 500 pounds larger. Very large bell. Clang clang church bell kind of thing. So we all decided, all right, well, well, first we were like, wait a minute, where's Light? And at that point, Light was up on the balcony, so they stuck their head over and went, I'm up here. So we all headed into the shrine, and discovered what Light already had, the altar room with the bodies. Bram is, as I've mentioned before, Bram is very like, we should pay due respect to the dead. So he was like, oh dear, these people have clearly been here for a very long time, but I don't think we should just leave them here. We should try to give them like some sort of a proper burial. At the same time, Glint had sort of, not wandered off, but Glint had gone to investigate a room off to the side where she found a bunch of like tattered mattresses and blankets and bedding, and rat tracks. So she was able to deduce like, oh, this is where the were-rats had been making their nest. Like they weren't really using the shrine proper either. They were nesting in here. Okay, cool. And then she kind of further poked her nose outside and discovered like the main portcullis and like the main road. Merrick, not Glint? I thought Glint ended up outside too. Okay, well, if it was Merrick, either way, one of them discovered rat nest and outside. And also climbed up to like the second floor, like there was another. I'm slightly unclear on this. There was the balcony where Light was, and then there was a different like second floor room, where Merrick found more javelins ready and waiting to be thrown, and a bow that looked like it had been charred, with kind of some vines twisted up around it, which was interesting. So Merrick thought, oh, interesting, this might be magical or otherwise interesting. It doesn't look like a normal bow we might find around here. So he grabbed it with the intention of like showing it to Phalar and being like, hey, look, this looks kind of magical. Can you tell what it does? Kind of thing. And also, meanwhile, Light was trying to figure out how to get the orc body down off the balcony. Because Light is also like, we should pay due respect to the dead. We shouldn't just leave him here. So after considering a couple different options, including yeeting the body off the balcony, what they ended up doing was Glint went to the top leftmost tower on the wall, and Merrick went to the top right tower. Okay. I was slightly unclear on that. That makes sense. So what Light ended up doing was using rope to sort of lash the orc corpse to their back, and then they used their magical rope of climbing to go like off the balcony and straight down the wall and knot itself on the way to give them like handholds to try to climb down with the orc corpse on their back. However, Orc big, Light not super strong, so they ended up like slipping and falling a decent distance. Luckily, the orc corpse broke their fall, so they didn't like completely pass out again from fall damage, which was handy. But yeah, the wettest of crunch. So they kind of laid there for a minute and went ow, and then proceeded to drag the orc corpse over to the pile of other ones, before returning to the shrine. Narthian had also found that in addition to the 4 priests that were like laying around the altar, there were also scattered like bits and pieces of humanoid remains in like in the corners, like kind of kicked away, probably by the orcs and the rats just through traffic. So she was kind of she was gathering those up and kind of putting those all together. But they were like so old and scattered, it was unfortunately impossible to tell like how many people it might have been or how to separate them out into individual people. So she was working on that. Everybody else kind of ended up in the I will also state, just above game, Zvother couldn't make it yesterday, so Narthian spent a lot of the session kind of standing in the corner tapping her foot, which might be why she doesn't seem quite as active this session, because Zvother was not actually there. But in any case, so everybody else kind of ended up back in the chapel room. Half expected that to be, and that's how Light died a second time. I had that concern as well. As soon as Randus was like, well, roll fall damage, I was like, oh no, they're not at very high HP anyway. Oh no. But luckily not. So we all headed back inside. Bram was still kind of fretting about what to do with these priests. and really wishing Landon was there. Because Bram and Phalar were kind of debating a bit, like, oh, okay, so this is, and we could tell the altar had a symbol carved into it, and we could tell that it was the whole very close to the holy symbol of Savras, which is the god that this shrine was dedicated to. We knew that already. So we were like, okay, well, neither of us really knows much about Savras or like what he would want done with his dead, but we don't want to just leave them here. So we eventually decided that we would grab some sheets and blankets from the other, like from the nesting room, and sort of, because these remains were so old, they were like fully skeletonized. So Bram was like, okay, well, let's get some sheets and like bundle each corpse up so that it kind of stays together, and that'll make it easier to move out of here and then to bury. So we started to do that. Glint and so two of the bodies were kind of sitting up, leaning back against the altar, and the other two were kind of sprawled on the ground off to the sides. So Bram and Glint ended up trying to take care of the two that were leaning up against the altar. However, as they did so, to like, you know, try to like gather the corpses and pull them away from the altar, both of them ended up touching the altar. And as soon as they did, Randus was like, okay, Maria, Kara, go to the secrets channel, which is always fun. So Bram and Glint both went like completely stiff, like their eyes rolled back in their heads. They just like froze and stopped responding to anything. So everybody else kind of went, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Phalar tried to like pull Glint back from the altar and was able to do so. He and Merrick like tried to like lay her down, but you know, she was just completely stiff, arms still straight out. Bram, of course, would be hard to move. Like even once Glint's hands like stopped touching the shrine, once she was away from the shrine, she was still like non-responsive and stiff. Bram, of course, was going to be much tougher to move, so Light was like, okay, well, let's, you know, they've got their quarterstaff, so they decided to use their quarterstaff to kind of try and like, you know, leverage it to like, you know, pry Bram's hands away from the altar. Unfortunately, in doing so, like they couldn't quite maneuver it to like find the right angle. And as they were like leaning closer to like try to get the right leverage, yes, they did indeed roll a nat 1 on a dex save, or a dex check, and kind of stumbled and fell against the altar. Yeah, Kite was rolling ridiculously yesterday. If you looked in Julie's Discord, they put up like a graph of like what all of their rolls were. And it was kind of stupid. Yeah, exactly, Kitsune. Hang on, let me just brace myself against this altar. Ah! So Light also went very stiff and non-responsive. But, oh, and I had forgotten to mention this. When we were examining the altar, we had noticed that it was like on rollers. Like it wasn't built into the floor. It was a separate piece set on the floor. And it was on rollers. So when Light fell against it, it sort of rolled an inch or two. So it is movable. But we might not want to touch it. Let's see, I need white. So that was fun. So Merrick was pacing and panicking and vaguely contemplating just going fuck it and touching the altar himself, which would have been hilarious. Phalar, for lack of anything better, was like, okay, crap. I'm gonna cast Detect Magic to at least try to figure out what kind of spell this is, like what's going on. Unfortunately, he doesn't have Detect Magic as an instant cast, he only has it as a 10-minute ritual spell. So he started, but you know, what else are we gonna do? So he started setting up the ritual spell to be able to cast Detect Magic. Further evidence Kite is cursed by fate? Yeah, I think so. 68% of your rolls under 10 is not great. After about a minute or so, well, I mean, after exactly a minute, Bram and Glint both gasped and kind of jolted and woke up just instantaneously, like, ah! And it turns out that when they touched the altar, they had both had a vision. And upon comparison, it seemed to be mostly the same vision, where they had seen essentially through Cryovane's eyes, like they had been Cryovane, the white dragon that initially brought us to this region in the first place. And she was flying. She was somewhere off to the west, flying east, passing over what was determined to be the town of Leodis, I think is what it's called. Continued to fly over forests, passed over Phandalin, continued to fly continued to fly east up into the mountains and approached this large stone castle or fortress with a bunch of like frozen orc corpses around. And in one of the lower levels of the fortress, you could see like a hole had kind of crumbled in the wall and there was a bunch of gold inside. And she went and like landed on the roof of the fortress and then just kind of, you know, dragon loafed down contentedly. So we were able to determine from that, like, oh, okay, that's probably where she's nesting. And because we had been her, we knew just instinctively exactly where that fortress was. So when Glint pulled out her map, she could immediately like put an X on the exact point in the mountain range where this is where the fortress is. So we have that information now. Whether or not it'll end up being useful remains to be seen, but at least now we know, okay, there's a fortress up in the mountains. Looks like it probably used to belong to orcs, but now the dragon is moving in, and that's where she's kind of roosting or nesting. At about the time Bram and Glint got done relaying all of this, Light also woke back up. Poor Light had a moment of like body dysmorphia species confusion, where they were still trying to like balance like Cryovane and then just ended up falling over because suddenly they didn't have wings anymore. And yeah, poor Light. But so they were a bit disoriented for a minute, but were fairly quickly able to reorient themselves, and it turned out they had seen pretty much the same thing. Excuse me. Yeah, a moment of, I'm a dragon now, rawr. Oh wait, no I'm not, shit. Light woke up as a dragon with a giant centaur looking at them. Yeah. Poor Light. Oh, honey. Yeah, so that was a thing. Lost my train of thought there. Oh, so once that happened, Bram at least kind of put two and two together, because Savras is a god of divination. So it was kind of like an light bulb going off kind of moment. Like, oh yeah, that would make sense. That was some sort of a divination thing. So we started, gathering up the bodies again, for lack of anything else. Trying to be very careful not to touch the shrine again. Bram that time rolled a nat 1 and just kind of flailed and shoved his hand against the altar for a second time, and nothing happened. So probably a one-time deal? Shrug. So as we were finishing, wrapping up the skeletons and sort of gathering them together, Phalar finished his detect magic. So he was, because he not only wanted to, initially it was, oh crap, gotta try to figure out what's happening to them. But then after that, he was like, I might as well finish. I want to take a look at this bow Merrick found anyway. So he went ahead and finished the detect magic ritual. The altar, as expected, was absolutely blazing with divination magic. Not human not spell cast divination either, God's blessed divine divination kind of thing, from how strong it was. The bow was glowing with a conjuration magic, I believe, but he couldn't tell anything specific about what it might do. Just that, yeah, it's definitely magic, and it's some sort of conjuration. And then he also checked light, just to see if he could tell, why their eyes are suddenly weird. But no, there doesn't seem to be any sort of a spell on light. Or at least not one that they hadn't had before. Because light does have a couple magical items on them, but that was the only things they saw glowing. So, yeah, probably not a spell. Yes, food is good. Everybody should food. In the past, when you ran this, in disbelief of the first party member that touched it, the rest of the party took turns touching it. Amazing. Fantastic. Breakfast is good. A hydrate from Kitsune, thank you, and a stretch. I will do these things. And an apple for Carby, excellent. So, we had finished gathering up the bodies, and at about that time, Narthian was still kind of chilling out in the outside of the chapel in the main room of the shrine building, I don't know what you want to call it, main hall kind of, because there was a big main hall, and then there was a smaller chapel off one side of it, and that's what had the altar and the bodies in it. So Narthian was still chilling out in the larger main hall that has the bell tower up from it, and she kind of called out hey guys, something just fell on me. And we're like, what do you mean something just fell on you? What? Debris? Yeah, the main hall entrance hall, where if you came in the front door, you would immediately come into this big atrium hall. So we were all wait, what do you mean something fell on you? So we all trooped back out there, and found Narthian holding this flake, a flake of not rusted, but like a flake of like old, very old, like corroded kind of metal. And she's looking upward, like straight up. And she's like, yeah, and I see something glittering up there. Or like, I see something shining up there. And we're like, wait, what? Oxidized copper. Yeah, so not corroded, but yeah, oxidized. So it's just like this flake of like super oxidized copper that is just like flaked off of something. But yeah, she's staring like straight up into the bell tower. So everybody else kind of stares straight up at the bell tower, going, what the hell? And Light decides, okay, well, I've got the rope of climbing. So they instructed the rope to, tie itself into handhold knots and go straight up, just like just off to the side of the bell tower. Because all of us were like, okay, hang on. If there's shit falling from the bell tower, maybe we should not be standing directly under the bell tower. Because there wasn't like any structure around it. There was just a hole in the roof of the, like the hall ceiling, and it just goes straight up to the bell tower. So like you could stand directly under the bell, which did not seem super safe if there was debris falling from it. People want to know what it is, so Light goes up. Yeah, exactly. So Light climbed up just to the side of the bell tower and then just kind of, stuck their head around to peer up at the bell. And from the closer vantage point, they could tell like the entire bell was like, this very oxidized green copper. But they could see like bits and pieces where it had started to flake away, and they could see like a larger strip along the bottom where the flake that had hit Narthian had like flaked off from. Burp. And in the areas where the oxidized copper is starting to flake off, Light can see very shiny metal. And Light's close enough to be able to peer at it and tell, oh, that's gold. And kind of tell that, oh, this bell is gold, and there's just a very thin coating of copper over it to hide it. Light, however, being no fool and wanting to avoid Glint, like, trying for 6 hours, to try to get this bell down. Oh yeah, and they turned on their light band so that they could have a brighter light, and that glinted off the gold really, really well. So trying to like keep Glint from suddenly being obsessed with this giant golden bell, Light was like, it's just copper. It's just where the oxidation had chipped off. Narthian, though, being Narthian, was just like, no, that's gold. Because with the band lit up, everybody down still on the floor could kind of see a bit better as well. So everybody kind of went, oh, a golden bell. At which point, SJ did not remember, but Bram remembered that there's a passage in, so they have like this local lore book that they inherited from Landon. And Bram remembered reading a section about this shrine, where there were barbarian raids years and years and years ago, that had come in and destroyed Conneberry. And the townspeople had fled from the town and taken refuge here in the shrine. And supposedly all of their gold had just vanished completely. But there were like torn journal scraps that a researcher had found that said that, oh yeah, we melted down all of the town's gold and turned it into a bell to try to hide it. So Bram immediately realized, like, yep, that's what this is. This is the townspeople's gold. Um, oh, actually, I skipped a step. I'll back up here in a second. Um, oh, Jimmy John's delivery, excellent. Enjoy that. I am very jealous. I will be eating that on our trip south. Um, so Bram realized, like, oh, this is the townspeople's gold. Like, this is all of their coins and all of their jewelry and stuff melted down to try to hide it from the raiders. Um, but like, of course, this was all like, I think like literally hundreds of years ago, right, Randus? So obviously, well, at the very least, decades ago. So there's no townspeople left. Um, yeah. So we were like, all right, well, do we leave it here? Like, do we take it with us? Do we try to come back for it on our way back? Um, and eventually we decided, like, nah, we've got the cart. We might as well just like cut it down, let it fall. Gold is still fine even if it's squished. Like, we don't have to keep it intact, so we'll just let it fall, grab it, put it in our cart, and bring it with us. Cool. So we did that. Um, Light climbed up, like all the way up into the bell tower, and was able to see that like there was a like a release on the bell. Like there wasn't a rope holding it up because the rope would have brought it away. There was like a probably some sort of like a locking mechanism or like a some sort of a hook and something, um like use it as a cauldron for brewing potions. Gold is heckin' heavy. We determined it would be like, yeah, gold is heavy, but not as heavy as iron. So we determined that like Bram would at least be able to like lift it enough to haul it um into the cart. 100 to 300 years ago. Okay, perfect. I mean, well, it was also not a full-size church bell. It was noticeably smaller than the iron bell that they had replaced it with. It was just in the shape of a bell to try to hide it from the marauders, and clearly that worked. Um, yeah, it's a very thin, small bell. It's not like a giant chonky thing. Um, However, I forgot something, so I will back up slightly. While we were all still in the altar room, like I mentioned that when light fell against the altar, it had moved an inch or two. After we went through, no, the big bell is down on the ground. It's the iron one. It's the one that they pulled out of the church steeple to be able to put the golden one in. That's the clue. Where you're like, why is there a bell on the ground even though the tower is not collapsed? That's why. Um so once we got the priests' bodies moved away and had kind of determined like, okay, the divination altar, like this, not a crisis, we're fine. um Glint sort of peered into like the crack that had been revealed by the moving altar, and she could see like the edge of a box, and she was like, ooh, box. um and there was a cute moment where she immediately went to like shove the altar to get at the box. Um, but the two priests' corpses were still like leaning against it, so they started being like dragged sideways. And Bram was like, "Glint, stop that! Let's move these people first, so that you're not trampling them." And Glint was like, "Oh, right, sorry, Bram." Um, so yeah, we got the corpses moved away, and wrapped up, and then Bram was able to move the altar, and there was a box underneath. And in the box, there was like a scattering of coins and things, and we could kind of tell, like, okay, well, it's hidden under the altar. It was just like a little recess carved into the ground. Um, okay, it's hidden under the altar. This is probably like the church's, um, like their coffers, like their sort of, their hidden valuables. So there was like a scattering of coins and a key, and like an old fashioned, like one of those fancy wrought iron like skeleton key kind of things. And Phalar still had his detect magic spell up because it lasts for 10 minutes once it's been cast, and he could tell that the key is magical. I don't remember what, well, it didn't have a school of magic. So it's got this shine of like, yeah, there's magic on this, but we don't know what kind. A tithes box. That makes sense. Yeah, that would make sense. Um, so yeah, so we've got a magic key now. Don't know what it does. Um, Bram kind of respectfully asked the corpses, like, we know that this belonged to you, but, clearly you have no use of it anymore, and it may be of use to us in our journeys to help people. So, um, you know, thank you for allowing us to take this, essentially. Just kind of covering his bases and doing his due diligence. Um, and Kara was like, I swear to God, if someday one of these corpses talks back to you, I'm going to scream. So that's a fun thing. But yeah, like that's just kind of how Bram is. He wants to be as respectful as possible, as much as he can be. Um so yeah, so we got a magic key. It does magic things. Um That's why you need to be careful donating money to churches. That can be entering a contract. After all, it's the ties that bind. Thank you, Kitsune. Um so yeah, so then all the stuff with the bell happened. We released the bell. There is now a deformed golden bell in the cart, probably covered over with like a tarp or whatever to hide it, whatever. Um, we got, so we had the whole pile of orc corpses and ogres, and then we had these 4 sets of skeletalized priest remains, and then we also had this other pile of sort of miscellaneous remains that we couldn't really, like, we can't sort them out. We can't really do anything with them. So the skeletonized remains, the 4 priests, and then also the miscellaneous townsfolk, we buried on within the shrine walls, so they're still on consecrated ground. Because clearly these people revered this god, so we'll bury them, on the shrine ground, so their souls can be at peace, hopefully. And then we piled all of the orcs with wood and lit them on a pyre. And Bram said a few words both for the skeletons and also for the orcs. He's not a priest, but he doesn't know any full funeral rites or anything like that. But he's at least, he'll say a few words of like, I don't know your traditions, and I don't know um, your names, but I wish you peace and a safe journey to wherever your soul rests next, kind of thing. And then after that, we, loaded the bell into the cart and by then it's getting pretty close to dusk, but none of us really wanted to take a long rest in the shrine, just in case there were like other orcs around, like maybe some of them were out on patrols and would be coming home, that kind of thing. So we headed off into the woods as far as we could get before full dark, just, even if it was just a mile or two, that was better than nothing. And then ended off the session on a long rest. Oh, I did, Randus. Okay, so Another fun difference between Bram and Light is that Light would be respectful by just leaving the box. Sure, it would help us, but also it's theirs. Yeah, so the thing with that is that it wasn't so much that if Bram had been by himself, he probably would have done the same thing. He probably would have just left the box where it was. But he knew that Glint was going to take the box anyway, so he figured he would cover his bases and try to, like, smooth things over, as it were, just in case taking it might cause any trouble. Because he knew he wasn't going to be able to get Glint to just leave it behind without a lot of fighting. So that's what that was. Like, yeah, if it, in a vacuum, if it was just him, Bram probably would have left it alone too. Um, it, no problem, bro. Lol. The corpse after the rogue learns ventriloquism. Oh my god. Glint is terrified of ghosts. That would be hilarious. Um, yeah. So yes, you are right, Randus. So Randus is an amazing DM and does gives us each birthday presents like in game. So Kara's birthday was this week. It was on Thursday actually. So Glint got her birthday present in game. So what that took the form of, like none of us know what it does yet, except for Glint. But basically toward the start of the session, as we were kind of tootling around and exploring and such, Mint was like, mommy, are you okay? Because reminder, at the end of the last combat, Glint had gotten hit on the head with an ogre club and knocked very, very unconscious. And Mint had kind of bristled up to protect her. So at the start of this session, Mint was like, mommy, are you okay? Like, I don't like it when you get hurt. Please don't get hurt. And Glint was like, yeah, the magic dagger worth an amount of gold that we all just buried in town is because it belonged to Bezleek. Excuse you. Even Glint respected that bit. So Glint was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mint. Like sometimes it just happens. I'll try. I really try not to get hurt, but sometimes that's just how life is." And Mint was like, "Well, I protect." And Glint was like, "Oh yes, you did. Thank you so much. You were you did so well to protect me." And Mint was like, "No, I protect." And so as a reminder, Mint is a slime with a skull floating in it, and the skull has a giant honkin' big sapphire that's embedded in one of the eye sockets. So Mint rotated around so that the skull was facing Glint and he could, look her in the eye. And as she's looking into this giant sapphire, just for a second, she sees a slit pupiled yellow dragon's eye coat, edged with bright rainbow scales, which she recognizes as being the eye of her patron, like her warlock patron. And she hears both Mint and her patron. Well, she hears Mint go, "I protect," and then for a moment she hears the voice of her patron saying, "I have given him the power to protect you." So there's something cool going on with Mint now that none of the rest of us know what it is. But that's Kara's birthday present. And Mint is a good slime, and we love him. And we also realized Mint has higher int than most of the party. So Mint has an intelligence score of 14, which is higher than Glint's, higher than Bram's, higher than Light's, higher than Merrick's, and higher than Narthian's. The only ones in the party that are smarter than Mint are Phalar and Landon's not even here right now. Although Bram really wishes he was. Oh, that's another interesting thing that happened kind of above table during this session. So one of the house rules that Randus plays with is that whenever one of us rolls a nat one, we can gain inspiration from that. And if, well, it's, let's be real, it's Kite. Uh, when Kite rolls a nat one, if Light already has inspiration, they can give it to someone else. So when Bram rolled his nat one on a dex check, pretty much everybody else already had inspiration, thanks to all of Kite's nat ones. And so Randus went, okay, Bram, do you want to give the inspiration to Narthian, who was the last person that didn't have it? Or do you want to give it to Landon? And I was like, well, if you're giving me the option, Landon probably needs it. So Landon is still about and doing things and rolling things off screen. And I am both relieved and also kind of concerned by that. So we'll see if what that is ever comes to light. I just thought that was an interesting thing that we have the option to give Landon inspiration. Yeah, he's still in the party. He's just not here right now. Landon is the cleric. Landon is Reverb's original character that pulled a runner for backstory reasons that we don't really know about yet. We just woke up one morning and he was gone. And we miss him. Yeah, Landon is the cleric. Yeah, and then for the once everybody had, yeah, the intent is for Merrick to be temporary one way or another. Um, yeah, so once literally everybody had inspiration for Kite's last nat one, we gave it to Droop the Goblin. Shrug emoji, just in case they ever need it, I suppose. Better that they have it and not need it than need it and not have it, I suppose. Oh yeah, that's true. You did try to give Bezleek inspiration. Oh, sandwich acquired. Excellent. At the end of the session, all 6 party members and 2 absent characters have inspiration. Yup. Some sort of lord? Are they Landon Gentry? Oh no. Kitsune, no. Scoodle that a bit. So yeah, it was a nice chill session. After 2 solid sessions of combat, it was really, really nice to have like a more chill exploration and roleplay focused session. It was nice. So yeah, we are headed toward probably Big Al's ranch to check on him because we got word a while ago that his place was like under siege by more orcs. So we're gonna go check on him and see how he's doing, and if he needs any assistance. So next session, Kara and I will both be gone because that's when we'll be on our trip down to the States. But everybody else may go ahead and play anyway, and we'll see what that brings. It'll be fine. Everything is fine. Yeah, magical journeys of friendship. But yeah, Kara and I will be out of town from April 7th all the way up through the 16th. So that entire week, both of those Sundays, and then also the 2 weekdays in between, I will not be streaming, because most of those I will be in the car, but it's fine. It'll be fun. I'm excited. Wait a minute, I've just noticed. Why is there no music playing? How long has that been going on? Spotify, you good? Road trip stream, but don't because data. Yeah, I don't even have roaming. Um, we only have international roaming on one of our phones to save on money, because we figured that anytime we're in the States, where Kara and I are going to be together anyway. So we only have international roaming on Kara's phone. For road trip streams, see also my FF15 streams, I guess. We'll count that. It's fine. I liked the exchange of Light casually cooking and Phalar commenting on Light's eyes with, "I didn't know Tabaxi can do that," and Light replying, "Tabaxi actually make good cooking with practice," unaware that they have new eyes. Yeah, that was cute. I like that a lot. I still think my favorite was Bram very definitely had a very sad moment when they were in the chapel, and he and Phalar were like trying to remember anything they could about Savras and like what he might want done with his priests after death. And Bram just had a very sad, morose moment of like, I wish Landon was here. Landon would have an idea. Landon knows things. It would be nice to have someone that knows things around. Look, Phalar's plenty smart. I'm just not sure he's smart enough to shepherd the entire party. We need more than just the one brain cell, I think. Landon's actually read books. Why know when you can think? I mean, yeah, fair. Bram doesn't even really have that. Bram's got charisma and strength, and that's all he's got going for him. Bram may be a horse himbo. We've determined that he's very charismatic, but also very gullible. Light has also canonically read many books. Sadly, a bunch of them were probably about things like farming, building resilient structures, and this is our god. Also, probably cookbooks. They've probably read a lot of books of like, do not eat this plant. IQ is just a measure of your capacity to learn, not of how smart you are. Yeah, that makes sense. Dummy's Guide to Serfdom. Dummy's Guide to Monastery? Seminary. They have never read a book on how to monk? Oh no. But they're so good at it. Okay, I just had the best idea. What if Mint's power to protect is like, if Glint is in danger, Mint can just transform into like a full-size giant-ass gelatinous cube and just like start eating things? That would be amazing. Yum sandwich. There's a Jimmy John's a mile from your house? Well, I know where we're eating. On the subject of nom. Gelatinous dragon? Oh, that'd be awesome. Ball just like swoops in and possesses Mint briefly. Oh, that would be so sticky though. Just gonna have to hard nope all of that? Oh. But a gelatinous dragon would be so fun. There would be jiggle physics. Gelatinous mini dragon? Yes. Gelatinous pseudo dragon? Something like that. Gelatinous worm. Wait. I've got this. Gummy worm. Hey, Reverb. Gelatinous cube hydra. Oh god. How would that even work, Yalk? We're just discussing Kara's birthday present, wherein her patron, the fairy dragon, has given Mint apparently the power to protect her, and we're just wildly speculating on what that might be. Any monster can be improved by adding the word Hydra to the end of it. I'm not sure that's true. Also, how would a gelatinous cube Hydra work? Would it be cubes inside cubes, or would it be like cubes branching off of cubes, or would it be a Hydra where each head is a gelatinous cube? What it does was set in session. Oh yeah, I know, but that's not fun. That's not as much fun. I mean, I know somebody in a group where their DM threw a Canadian goose hydra at them, and that was apparently horrifying to fight. Mint protect, yeah, exactly. Mint protect. Canadian goose hydra can break all of the party's legs in one strike. Yep, pretty much. Apparently there were also descriptions of the horrific hissing noises. Do love the Canadian Chimera. Oh no. Moose. I'm gonna go with moose body, goose head, beaver tail. It would be my guess for that. Canuck Mara? Oh gosh. There are models online of it. Amazing. Yeah, it's a small AC bump plus a secondary effect of some sort, as long as Glint and Mint are in contact. So, as long as Mint is riding on Glint's shoulder, they protect. Kuma is up. Kuma is making coffee. Excellent. Good morning, Kuma. Coffee is excellent. We are all absolutely awake here. Kuma is talking in the third person. No trust of this Kuma. Clearly somebody else has stolen the keyboard. Presumably while Kuma is making coffee. Now that you're thinking of travel, if you had to buy train tickets in Canada, what would you use? Via Rail. They're like, they have their own website and they're the most comprehensive rail network for Canada. Our passenger rail isn't fantastic, but what's there is Via Rail. Moose head and body, beaver head in the chest, goose wings, and its tail is a gooseneck and head. I hate it. Thanks, Yalk. I hate it. Yeah. Via Rail's coverage isn't universal, and unfortunately I don't know, like, in the areas that Via Rail doesn't cover, I don't know if anything does, because I've only ever used Via Rail. But I've also only ever traveled by train within Ontario. So, like, if you're looking to travel a longer distance or in other areas of the country, I'm not sure what other options there are, unfortunately. Via Rail itself is quite good, though. Like, I've traveled with them a number of times. Found the next chimera we're all going to fight? Oh no. Okay, but I've toyed with the idea. Now that I've had 2 proper horse centaurs, I have toyed with the idea of trying to homebrew either well, I wouldn't even need to homebrew. It would still probably be the same stats as a centaur. It would just be a flavor thing to make it either a moose tar or a deer tar. I think would be a lot of fun. I've seen art of deer tars, and I love them. By lacking of details, what do these classes actually mean? Yeah, good question. I believe they're set up fairly similar to plane classes, where you've got, like, economy class, business class, that kind of thing. But they might have also changed that. It's been a couple years. Need to plan some groceries. That is a good idea. Perhaps give it an hour to wake up first, and then you can plan groceries. Dog tar, a halfling torso on a big dog body. That would be awesome. Concerns? Nah. Okay. But what if tabaxi torso on, like, cougar or lion body, where it's a tabaxi but it's a tar? I mean, that kind of defeats the dexterity and climbing power of a tabaxi, but it would still be fun. Just whenever stream's done, just go and buy whatever. Spend $300 on food that lasts you a day and a half like usual. But planning is good if you have the capacity. You're a DM who hasn't gotten to run a game in years? That sounds like it's time you ran a game, the Alk. Ah, servitor is the word you've heard for a deer centaur. That does sound right. I think I've heard that before as well. The friendly aliens from Animorphs? I thought they were... Yeah, they were tars. I feel like they were closer to, like, weird, like, lizards than they were cats. Because they were blue, weren't they? I don't remember them being particularly feline. But yeah, they were tars. You wanna just cooperate with me? There we go. Come on. If you say every idea, the players won't know which one to expect. That's also fair. Just wall of text, 85 ideas. Eventually we'll zone out, and then we won't know anything. Roll a D100 to see what you encounter on Yalk's table of bullshit. That sounds fun, I like that. Doesn't that only roll a D20 though, Kite? What percentage done are we with this poor quilt? That's a good question. So when I laid it out last time, it's probably somewhere between a quarter and a third of as big as I want it to be. But that's just the raw pieces. I then have to piece them all together, which is going to be a pain in the ass, because that's going to be long seams with large chunks. Yeah, there's a reason that hand quilts take a long time. I'm also not really working on it between streams. It would be getting done a lot faster if I was able to dedicate more time to it. Which, you know, I probably should at some point. Like, when I laid all the pieces out, I was actually surprised with how big it had gotten. So yeah, it's somewhere around a quarter-ish done, probably. 365 stream challenge, just this quilt? I mean, maybe someday. Maybe 2024. I might consider that. It would only be like an hour a day, but it would at least be something. Because my New Year's resolution for this year, for 2023, was to maintain my Duolingo streak all year. And so far I've done it. So far I'm still on streak. So yeah, maybe next year something slightly more ambitious. For a while I was trying to do at least one hexagon a night. Like, I would come up and at least baste one, or at least make one every night, but then I kind of fell off of that. What duo am I linging? Japanese. Just to keep myself in practice and to teach me more vocabulary. Because the thing that I find with Duolingo, at least for Japanese, because it's the only one that I've had practice with, is that it's not great about teaching you the grammar rules. And like, I'm one of those people that I really need, the grammar. Like, I need to know why I'm saying something. I need to know how to form the sentences. I need to know the grammar rules. And Duolingo is not that. But because I do already know how to speak Japanese and I already have the grammar rules, Duolingo is great for just feeding me more vocabulary, which is what I need at this point. I need to go through my textbooks again and brush up on my grammar too, I think. But so far Duolingo is good. Yeah, that's fair, Dobby. That's unfortunate. I hope you are able to recover that soon. But there's also no shame in dropping something if it's like, yeah, it's good to keep a streak going, but it's also like not the end of the world if something comes up and it breaks, right? Like, you can always pick it up again. And you shouldn't continue something if it's harming your mental health or harming your physical health just for the sake of saying, I've got a streak going, you know? And I don't necessarily mean that specifically for you with reading, just kind of in general. It's great to like have determination and have, something that you're passionate about that you want to continue doing. But if the very act of forcing yourself to continue it is harming your health, then you shouldn't be forcing yourself, you know? You need to rest sometimes too. Harming your mental health but helping your physical health. Yeah, see, that's where it gets hard, because you can also very easily do the opposite. Like, I'm doing something that's helping my mental health, but it's very bad for my physical health. Like, that's something I fall into a lot. E-reader's an absolute bust. The screen's done for, got streaks in it, and it's not showing anything new. Oof. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry. What if you just keep going and burn out? See, that's what I mean. Like, burnout is the thing you want to avoid. burnout is not for anybody. I say, having experienced it before. That's part of why I think I have so many different crafts, is because I will not burn out, but I will feel myself approaching that point and be like, okay, I'm gonna stop sewing for a while. I'm gonna switch to crochet. Or, oh, I'm gonna set aside the crochet for a while and flip to something else. But the sooner you get to burnout, the sooner the burnout is over and you can get back to work. Oh no. Kitsune, please. I mean, it probably works, but that's not how it's supposed to work. Did you roll really badly in the first few sessions? I don't remember. Kicks 3 dozen hobbies into the closet, right? Yeah, you if anyone understand, Yalk. Has your ex actively cursed you? Well, my thought was maybe that Besleek cursed you. Were you rolling badly before Besleek died? Maybe you're being haunted. But also maybe burn some sage just to be safe? Or like hang a rowan branch somewhere. Oh no, check out spoilers for Best Centaur. Oh dear. I'm not sure I want to switch windows. I mean, if Discord decides to switch windows. Oh dear. You know what? I'll take it. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, to be honest. That is not actually the most cursed centaur I've ever seen. That's just kind of funny. I'm the second person to recommend you burn sage. Maybe burn some sage then. Wave a burning sage leaf over your dice. Oh, okay. So one little, like, very minor side detail that doesn't matter at all, but that I find amusing. That was never even stated in game anywhere. So, as we were traveling to get here, to get to the shrine, where we fought a bunch of orcs, it took us a couple days. And so along the way, for flavor, Bram, who for a long time traveled and made his living as a storyteller, and Merrick, who is a bard, were like swapping stories and stuff, and like telling tales of their travels and like sharing their favorite stories and stuff. So Reverb and I actually came up with a few just like real fast summaries of like, okay, well, here's the stories that Merrick shared and here's the stories that Bram shared. And one of the ones that I came up with for Bram was like, I forget exactly what I called it. I think it was the Midwinter Cards, which is a tale, like a funny tale meant to be told in one sitting of 4 old wizards gathering together on a midwinter night to play cards and pass the time. And the story is about all of the funny bets that they made over each hand of the cards. And that was it. That's the shorthand description of this story that Bram told. But above table, out of game, as I was writing it, I'm like, yep, those 4 old wizards are me, Kite, Kitsune, and Kuma. That's it. That's all. It's just the 4 of us sitting around playing cards. Yup, wizards. Exactly. I was waiting to see if maybe Kite would comment on it, but yeah, no. That was my intention behind that little story snippet, was that it was the 4 of us. Oh no, that's totally fair, Kite. It was just like a little snippet thing. It's all good. Okay, have a good afternoon, Yalk. Enjoy the woodworking. And hi, Miller. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, exactly. It was the 4 of us playing Wizard, Tichu, Spades, Hearts, Buttons, King Domino, all of the other games. Oops. Oh, nifty. It hasn't come up, but when I was writing Phalar's backstory, I put his family's summer residence, where he was born, near a place where there are centaurs in Evermeet. Nifty. Fair. Oh golly, it is noon already. Yeah, Bram comes from a fairly small town. I know Randus and I worked out where it is roughly, like on the edge of which forest. I just don't remember exactly where. But yeah, he comes from a very small town that was mixed centaurs and humans. Actually, no, I am between scenes. I should take my break now. So yes, I will take my quick break, my usual noon break. I'm gonna go eat a yogurt. Everybody else should get up, stretch, grab new drinks, shift positions, all the other good self-care things. Grab foods if you need to. And I'll be back in a couple minutes. Thank you. have nom de nom and I return. Specifically, I have nommed a key lime Greek yogurt, and Sasha begged for a lick of it. I've nommed a nom. That's from that one Disney. No, I thought it was from Les Mis. I'm pretty sure it's Les Mis. Yeah, exactly. I've nommed a nom in times gone by. I'm not going to try to sing it because I already know I definitely do not have the range for that song. But yes, I had key lime Greek yogurt, and Sasha very much wanted a taste. She followed me into the kitchen and then got distracted by birds. We have so our kitchen door is like, not full floor-to-ceiling glass, but it has like a nice big glass panel in it that reaches down far enough that we've got a stool set in front of it, and Sasha likes to sit on the stool and look outside. So we put a bird feeder out on the porch, like right outside that window. So she's been very happy to curl up there and watch her bird TV. But God forbid one of us forget and move her stool. She'll come and start bothering us. She'll like paw us and whine and meow. And we're like, what? We're not gonna feed you. Like, what do you want? But then if we go into the kitchen, it's like, oh, she wants to be able to watch the birds. Someone moved her stool. You'd Windmill Slam board game arena, but I have like 3 games. Yeah, I'm running kind of low at the moment. I meant to join a few more before this weekend and then just didn't get around to it. I meant to make a few more too, and then also did not get around to it. I mean, you can still hit the button if you'd like. So is that what you're spending Board Game Arena points on? Make games? I mean, you could. I could go in and make a few games. I'd have to remember to launch them, though. By, what, Tuesday lunchtime? I'd have to set a timer. Or an alarm. I usually try to make some, like, Friday midday. So that I can launch them on stream and not forget. But that didn't happen this week. Isn't it 70? Is it? Okay. 72 hours is a bit better. I just always seem to forget. And then I'm like, whoops. Don't feel pressured, Kate. Sometimes there are downtimes, and that is okay. Yeah. Oh, Kuma is just asking if it is 72 hours, which it is. Okay. Okay, but yeah. I still always seem to forget, but that does give me a little bit more leeway, yes. Aha! Randus has done the thing. Let me just finish up this seam. And then I will go both create some games and then play the games that I have. Excellent. Come on, thread. Ooh, battling Carby. Lots of pink Carbies around today. Yay, we win. Excellent. Lots of pink Carbies and Kara's not even here. Cookies for Carby, excellent. For a second, I thought the music was like being caused by Carby somehow, and I'm like, that's a new sound effect. But no. It is not enough thread. Alright. Let's see here. This one. Hey! OBS actually pulled the right window first try? That's weird. I also need to pull chat up on my phone because I'm going to be switching to full screen. That is a thing I need to remember to do. There we go. That one. Okay. Oh, I definitely have more. I should have more than one game ready to go. Oh, there we go. Yeah, 9+. That's what I thought. Alright, let us see about making some games. Nope, I don't want Arena at the moment. There we go. Alright. What games am I making? Oh, I see. Kite has made some games. Well, excellent. Just casually. Okay, so Kite's taking care of that. Let's do some koi koi. Because I don't think I'm in any at the moment right now, which is weird. This should have saved all of my settings. Cards of the month. Oh, they finally added cards of the month. Yay. Okay. Restrict table access. Restrict to my friends. Okay. Open. Steamrollers? Good idea. Kite abused you with cards of the month? I know, right? I got one completely by accident and I was like, wait, what? Oh, okay, cool. That's a thing now. Aha, I see Kite has already. I'll just casually take one of those. Oh, I had it set to half a year. That's okay. 2 years, 24 hands? Jeez. Everything else should have been saved. Yes. I do kind of like that it saves your options between creations. This is the koi koi that doesn't end, right? Jeez, 2 years, 24 hands of koi koi. Good lord. Yes, Azul is always good. Uh-huh, I see. Kite is beating me to all of the things. That's fine. I do like Via Magica. Ah, you have board creation automated. That's fair. You went from 57 to 93. Good lord. That is fair. Let's see. What else have we not played in a while that I would like to play? Aha! Kite's got that too. I do like Hand and Foot. If nobody wants to play with me, that's fine. What other... Okay, 13 and 13. Man, there's a lot of optional rules here that I have never looked at. Nifty. Ooh, I see that invitation. I will accept. Excellent. No, no, not that button. Not that button either. Oh, Tucano. Like me some flaming pyramids. Tend to have it set up so that completing melds gets more points, as does going out. Mm. Ooh, haven't played Sea Salt and Paper in a while either. Oh, you accidentally launched it live? That would explain why it tried to take me to another screen. I will do that in a second. Let's see. Did Kite start a wizard table? No. What else? What's down here? Ooh, yes. I do like... that reminds me, I need to add that to my favorites. Excellent. I do like that one quite a bit. Okay, good. Lucky numbers. Excellent. Q-birds. Yes, good. I will actually go through the rest of Kite's list once I am off stream. See if there's any that I missed. Okay, that seems good for now. I don't feel like completely paging through the interface. Yeah, okay. Let's go see what I've got live. There's just enough RNG that the best laid plans of mice and men. I like it quite a lot. Our One Buttons game finished, didn't it? Oh boy. I don't think I can open 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, 50, 60. Aha! I can just open. Excellent. So, play those. Play those. Yeah, I got, I managed to actually get a 5 in a row. So that one actually ended. And there we go. Excellent. And I guess discard a queen? Sure. Cribbage. Ah, yes, my arena cribbage. 3. And yeah, because I think this might be... I'm only expecting to win one here. We'll see how that goes. Do I want to roll a wizard here? No, not yet. T2. Nope, I do not have a higher pair than that. Okay. Oh, this is a very fun starting board. Let's just take that off the field, and I'll take the deer as a consolation. That'll work too. Excellent. This never-ending talk game. I don't think I can actually... Yeah, I can't. It's fine. Okay, a 4. I guess I'll play a queen. Man, the other day I had a hand that was ace, 2, 3, 10, jack, queen. Opponent's crib, of course. There was no good answer. I think I screamed a little bit internally. Okay, this is spades. Let's go with that. Kitsune cribbage. Let's play that. Ah, the specialty Azul game. This is the last round of the game. Okay, can I finish? No, I physically can't. There aren't enough tiles. Okay, so plan B. And I can't fill both of these because I hecked up my arrangements. Probably more important to do the 2, which is luckily the easier. So put that there. Confirm. And more Azul. I need 2 blues. Yes, I will take those 2 blues. Put them there. Confirm. Wizard. Friend wizard where I am attempting to play nil. Okay, that worked out. Next. Okay, let's take that. And the butterfly. Cool. Starting with 1 of 12. Okay. Yep, let's take the Phoenix. Aha! Our 2p king domino. Excellent. Let's go with that. And guess logically that. Back to cribbage, 23. That and that. What was the 5-round drafting an engine? Oh, that one. Yes, I know exactly which one you mean. That one was interesting once we figured out what it was, or like how to. What was that called? It's a Wonderful World? Was that it? I don't remember if that was it or not. It looks right though. Can I go to the... I'm pretty sure it's this one. Yeah, that's it. Thought so. Yeah, this one was really interesting once we actually figured out what we were doing. Ooh, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Let's play that to ruin any potential straights. All right, there we go. Excellent. And I will go through after stream and possibly create a few more, but then also join the ones that Kite and Kitsune are making. Excellent. And yes, it has a sleepy Graha over here. He's a good boy. And then this one, this is from Avatar. It's one of the two moonfish, but it's got Rava's sort of mystical symbol in place of the koi body. And actually, Kara has the other one. I don't remember if this is Tui or La, but Kara has the opposite one on her laptop. Set that back where it goes. All right, thank you, friends. Thimble. And I'm going to need more papers. Kara and I also have, like, both of our laptops, the tops of them are just covered in stickers. Actually, I might be able to show you without. So I can't close the laptop, but I should be able to. So yeah, I know these are upside down. I have lots of stickers on my laptop. A lot of them FF14 related, several Pokemon. I don't know how much my camera is actually catching because my laptop is now face down. In this corner, you see this Pinkie Pie butt going into an orange portal. Kara has the matching blue one on her laptop with Pinkie Pie's head popping out. We saw them on Redbubble and thought they were hilarious. Yep, there is a Wormwood sticker. It came when I've started a tradition, like a personal tradition, where every desert bus, or at least every end of the year time, I get myself another Shield of Hope from Wormwood. Just because I like them and they're so pretty. So when I got mine this last year, it came with a sticker. So I just smacked it on my laptop. I've got a display for them set up in my office. And by display, I mean I've shoved push pins into the wall and just like propped the shield up on the push pins, but it works. Me and Kara are heckin' adorable. No, we're heckin' silly is what we are, but it works. Saying that like I can't be both. That is true. Fair enough. We are indeed both cute and silly. Okay, that'll do for now. Should have grabbed my larger pair of scissors, but that's okay. They are all the way across on the table. Yeah, they are well out of my reach. These'll do. So I've just remembered in thinking about it, there is another Pinkie Pie related story for me and Kaylee. So back when My Little Pony was at the very height of its fame, and you could get like the little blind boxes and blind bags with like the little figurines in them. Kara and I bought a few just because they're really cute. And one of them was a little Pinkie Pie figurine. And this is back when we were living with a couple of our older roommates, and I don't remember how it got started. But I think we had just like left the Pinkie Pie figurine sitting someplace weird. And so one of our roommates, I think, grabbed it, and just for the heck of it, because it was funny, he put Pinkie Pie in the fridge. So that the next time somebody opened the fridge door, there was just a little Pinkie Pie figurine sitting there beside the milk staring at them. And then whichever roommate found it in the fridge went and hid it somewhere else. So it just became a game of moving Pinkie Pie around to various weird places. And then after those roommates moved out, Kara and I kept doing it for a while. Until at one point, Pinkie Pie just vanished. Like, Kara hid her somewhere, and I could not find her. Actually, no, that's a lie. So, when the roommates moved out, I think, Kyle told us, he's like, hey, I hid Pinkie Pie somewhere, you're never gonna find her. Good luck, basically. And we couldn't find her for ages. And we had no idea, like, where he had put her. Until one day Kara was cooking and happened to look up, and the fan hood over top of the stove had like little vents in it, of course, to like let air flow through and stuff. And she just happened to like look up and raise her head at just the right moment and found herself nose to nose with Pinkie Pie peering out of those grates. Our roommate, before he moved out, had taken the screen off the bottom of the hood fan, reached up inside it, and like set Pinkie Pie on the little ledge so that she was staring out from the front grates. So yeah, we retrieved Pinkie Pie and had a good laugh about it. And then Kara hid her somewhere that I still have not found her. She claims that someday I will. Like, I've not specifically looked for her. Like, I've not torn the house apart trying to find Pinkie Pie. It's just weird that I haven't, and Kara has assured me that someday I will. Which is both very funny and a little ominous. Yeah, sealing Pinkie Pie isn't real and can't hurt me. Especially since we don't have drop ceilings. But yes, that is a little peek behind the curtain into the silliness of our lives. That we play a game where we hide a Pinkie Pie figurine in various odd places and wait for the other person to find it. I get it honestly though. The first time my mom came to visit us at this house, she brought a handful of like a dozen American pennies and just hid them all over the place. And we're still finding them. Like, she put one of them in the freezer. We only found that one recently. Another one she put, like, on top of a picture, like a hanging picture frame for one of our wedding photos. That one took us a while to find because we don't dust things. Another one, I'm trying to think of where else she put them, but she had like a dozen of them. Some of them were like super obvious. Like one of them she just put in one of our potted plants, like just kind of dropped it on top of the soil. We found that one pretty quick. One of them she had just put on one of the windowsills and then put like a bottle of like one of the air fresheners over top of it. So as soon as we moved the air freshener, like, oh, there's a penny. Just various things like that. We probably still haven't found all of them. Like, it was a good year before we found the one in the freezer, and I texted my mom to tell her about it, and she just started cackling. There we go. Yeah, exactly. Of course she was going to start cackling about it. I feel like the next time we go down to my parents' place, I need to take a handful of Canadian, I don't know, dimes or something, because we don't have pennies anymore. And just return the favor. Kind of make sure you get through your frozen veggies more? I mean, maybe, yeah. Canadian dime might equal an American penny? Oof. I mean, you're not wrong, but oof. Maybe nickels. Nickel would probably be closer. Yeah, the exchange rate at the moment is ass. I'm not looking forward to buying gas on our trip. But I did do some math, and that made me less anxious. So, I've been slightly anxious about the upcoming trip just because of finances. So the other day, my anxiety caused me to do math, and it actually helped. Because I looked up the total kilometer. Well, so our trip is going to be in two sections. The Canadian section, where everything is measured in kilometers and liters, and then the American section, where everything is measured in miles and gallons. So I did it in two halves. I looked up the kilometers that we're going to be driving in Canada, rounded it up to like the nearest 100. Then I looked up, because we're renting a car, so we don't actually know what car we're going to get until the day we go to pick it up. So I looked up like average miles or average kilometers per liter for Canadian cars and found that number. And then I looked up the average current gas prices in Ontario and got that number. And then I did the math to figure out, like, okay, over this many kilometers with a car that has roughly this gas mileage, and I rounded it to be a little bit worse so that hopefully all of my estimates will be a little bit high. You know, if we have a car with this gas mileage, we're going to be using this many liters of gas, which will cost us roughly this much. And it actually came in to only about $100 Canadian for the Canadian length of the trip, which was better than I was fearing. Of course, that's only one way, but still. So about $200 for the Canadian length of it. And then I did the same thing for the American side of the trip, but in miles and gallons. I calculated roughly how many miles we would be driving, and then roughly how many miles per gallon a car might get, and then, okay, that's roughly how many gallons we need. What's the average price? So that's roughly, and it came out to about the same. It came out, well, in the other currency, it came out to about $100 American. So roughly 130 Canadian-ish. Again, that's only one way, but so we know we're trying to budget roughly $500 for gas, question mark. Hopefully we end up with a car that has really, really good miles, or really, really good gas efficiency. That would be nice. And it will still be cheaper than flying, for sure. On the subject of hordes, is Kite a board game dragon? Discuss. Perhaps, yes. I could also see them being some sort of a cuddle dragon. Allow you to context is optional, but if you desire to. Board Games this week is brought to you by Dave's Boarding and Hoarding. Do you have a... Oh god. You said Dave's, and I just automatically started attempting to do the Dave spokesman, and I cannot. Do you have a merchantman you need to privateer? You a dragon with an unwieldy pile of gold? Dave's got you covered with a range of cupboards and boarding cutlasses? Ah. Melt down your spare metals into cannonballs and blast through the temporary barrier that is the opposition over at wherever. Dave's Boarding and Hoarding. Call today for our end boarding package deals. Oh, good lord. Concerns. Still not your favorite? Really? I mean, they're all pretty good. Thank you for attending Board Games, brought to you this week by Dave's Card Games and Carbonara. Oh no. Combine your favorite Euro games with a classic Italian dish, all slathered in tomato sauce. We'll shred you some meat whilst you shred the competition. Dave doesn't care. Never miss a trick. Scoop up your pasta-full hands and take away your leftovers in our patented cardboard Nara Dave's. Dave's Card Games and Carbonara, the only store selling spaghetti in singles. Oh gosh. Amazing. Wait, carbonara doesn't have tomato in it? I thought that was the point of carbonara. Huh, I'm just dumb about pasta, I guess. Oh, right, carbonara is the egg and fat one. Right. Yes, no, I'm thinking of the other one. Bolognese, that's what I was thinking of. Yes, correct. Carbonara is deliciousness. Yeah, I was thinking of bolognese for some reason. Bird. Kuma is off for Games with Kiddo? Enjoy Games with Kiddo. We'll see you later, Kuma. Enjoy your afternoon. Dave's chef makes delicious carbonara and then tomato sauce gets put on top of it. Oh no. Amazing. Only tomato is al pomodoro. Right. Yes. That's totally enough thread for one more. Nope, that's the right side, so this way. This afternoon, after I get off stream, is dedicated to laundry and more and different sewing. Because I need to finish up that baby blanket before I go down to see the baby that it's for. Once I get it in a decent state of doneness, I'll post pictures of it for sure. How goes your to-do list, Kite? Are there things being to-doed or to-done? You have done none of it. I mean, that's fair. It's Sunday. Been ordering stuff for the zine. That's good. That is a thing that needs to be done. That is progress. As long as you're not neglecting your homework to do it. Oh, nice crisp corners. You're ahead by like 2 weeks? Excellent. Later this week, you plan on finishing all your coursework so that you're finished a whole month early? Awesome! That is excellent. Are you just taking the one class right now? It sounds like cheating. Hey, 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 that's not for you to determine. You're not her instructor. Just the one for now, and in the summer you'll have two? Excellent. I can also take this one out. From one of your old teachers, if you aren't cheating, you aren't trying. Goodness. But I mean, also fair. Sort of. That is a session hair. Sheep has enticed us all to stretch. Thank you, Sheep. Everybody stretch. Oh, yes, good. Big stretch. Thank you. It has been a hot minute. Y'all shrimping stretch out? Yup. I mean, only a little. I actually can't shrimp too much in this chair, but it is still a good reminder to stretch. Also, stretch out my hands. No, Kitsune, that applies to you too. Stop shrimping. No more shrimping. Unless they are going into your mouth. You actually don't eat seafood? Okay, that makes it very easy then. No shrimping at all. Are you allergic? Or are you just not a seafood person? Got a friend that's like super allergic to seafood. Got a couple friends actually that are really allergic to shellfish. You only eat food you can see? You can see shrimps. You're not allergic, you just don't think you'll like it? That's fair. That is fair and valid. Proceeded to the de-shrimp phase. Passes priority. Uh-huh. Something along those lines. You've just eaten, so you've come to a stop, which is why you've not stretched. Okay, that's fair. Hopefully dinner was yummy. It was nom excellent. Nom is the best kind of noms. Good chicken soup waiting for you to get past the breakfast stage. Ooh, yummy. So Kara's one request for her birthday. We're saving most of the celebrations and stuff until after we get back from our trip to the States. But her one request for like the day of her birthday was that she didn't want to have to cook anything. And I'm not really a cook, so she told me, she's like, I don't care if we order something. I don't care if you stop on your way home from work to like just pick something up. I just don't want to have to cook. Like fast food is fine. I don't need anything fancy. I just don't want to have to cook, which is totally fair. So I had to stop off at the grocery store anyway to pick her up flowers, because I always get her tulips on her birthday. So I stopped to pick up the tulips and to find something for dinner. And I didn't really know what I was in the mood for to eat that night. So I was just kind of wandering around looking at things. And Delicioso has a pizza out with croissant crust. And I was like, you know what? I've kind of wanted to try this. Let's pick one up and we'll have that. And it was actually really good. I actually really like the croissant crust a lot better than I like normal pizza crust. So we might just keep getting that. Yeah, tulips. It's always kind of been our flower. I mean, and also we're in Ottawa, so like we go to the Tulip Festival every year too. That's always like a big. We always go on a date and like get a nice dinner and then go walk around the Tulip Festival. So it's just tulips have kind of just become our thing. Legitimately surprised that was good. It sounds like a bit much. It was, yeah, so it actually was good. So like the actual pizza toppings were all normal. Like it was pizza sauce and cheese and pepperoni, and I added extra cheese. It was just the crust bottom was just like basically layers of phyllo pastry instead of like pizza dough. It was like, they call it a croissant crust, but it was just layers of pastry, so that when you cooked it, the edges of the pizza ended up like fluffing up and getting really, really crispy instead of being like doughy. And it was just really, really good. It was a nice texture. And definitely different, because I tend to find that pizza dough, especially like the crust around the edge, tends to get really chewy. But the croissant crust wasn't. It was just really nice and crisp, and I really liked that. But yeah, your mileage may vary, but I really liked it. You could say it wasn't bad. I might say that, yes. This joke just sucks, delete it. No, it's fine. It wasn't bad. That's probably enough for one more. We'll find out. Maybe not. Yeah, probably not, actually. Alright. White. I'm gonna need more hand stitching thread soon. This is running very low. forgot it was time to be a pyromaniac. What? I have a few concerns with that statement. Is it supervised pyromania? Or is it digital pyromania? Going to finally be burning 4 years of financial records? Oh my god, that sounds amazing. We just send ours to a shredding service. Burning sounds so much cooler. I did want the answer though, Randus. I did want the answer. Well, enjoy that, Dobby. That sounds heckin' fun. The answer is don't worry about it. Yeah, exactly. The question is, what do you mean pyromania? And the answer is, don't worry about it. Exactly. Yeah, 7 years is pretty standard. 7 years is what it is here too. But again, we just send ours to like a big industrial shredding service afterwards. It sounds so much more fun to just burn them yourself. I mean, I can kind of guess the reason, Kitsune. Although that doesn't explain why it would be 4 years and not 3. Oh yeah, that's true. It is coming up on 4 years now. True. Didn't happen in your year, and your replacements didn't either because your archive is inside a student house and you didn't want to have to enter without big reasons. That's fair. That makes sense. Yeah, I thought about that, Kite. Kitsune, I hate to tell you this if you haven't realized, but time keeps passing. Even if you don't want it to. Two at once is interesting. There we go. Only very, very slowly though, Kitsune. So slowly you're probably not even noticing, which is good. Time is a lie. Yeah, exactly. That's true. Time is only passing if you believe in it. So just reject time. And everything will be fine. I feel like you've watched that anime. Oh, probably. I feel like I've watched that Ghibli movie before. And maybe. Exactly. Just hatched 2 shinies in a row? Dang! Nice luck. I don't think I've ever hatched 2 in a row, but I have, like, encountered one and then almost immediately hatched one. I'm still attempting to trundle my way through Unova. Getting close to being done with Galar. Nice! Congrats. That is Generation 8. That was Sword and Shield, is Galar. The dev for PokeClicker is working on adding Paldea, but it is not quite ready for launch yet. Hopefully soon. I'm impressed they got Galar up so fast. The one with the one with the sports uniforms in the arenas. Yeah, the story is definitely secondary. It's more of just the idle game satisfaction of making numbers go big. Yeah, I saw that, Dubby. It prompted me to download it right as I was going live, so I haven't had a chance to look at the release notes yet. But yeah, it is being actively updated. And quite quickly, too. I'm not actually in the Discord for it, because I'm already in way too many Discords for things. There's a new quest in Kanto to make starting out easier. Oh, nifty. Gives you a bunch of the Evo Stones you need. Ah, oh yeah, because the slog of trying to acquire quest points at the very beginning was rough. It ramps up very quickly, but the beginning bits were, yeah, a bit rough. I may at some point start a new file with the challenge mode for, what do they call it? Realistic evolutions. So the way that the game works now is that when you evolve a Pokemon, you still keep the base Pokemon too. So the idea is you want to have a living dex, so you want to have every single Pokemon. So like when you evolve Bulbasaur into Ivysaur, you still keep Bulbasaur, you just now also have an Ivysaur. But there's a challenge mode where when you evolve a Pokemon, the Pokemon that it evolves from goes away. So, like, when you evolve Bulbasaur into Ivysaur, you don't have a Bulbasaur anymore. because it's now an Ivysaur. And so you would have to go back and recollect the Bulbasaur, or rehatch it, or find another one to be able to have your full dex complete. Which I think could be really interesting. It would really stretch the game out. And I could see how it would make it more tedious in a lot of places, but it could also be a lot of fun if that's something you enjoy. So the way that Pokerus works in Poke Clicker is interesting. Once it gets given to one of your Pokemon at a certain point in the game, and then you have to be able to like spread it to other Pokemon. And once they have Pokerus, then they're able to start gaining like EVs, effort values, which passively raises their stats. So it's just kind of like another mechanic for making the numbers go up and making your attack stronger in a more passive way. Yeah, and you only get EVs when you catch the Pokemon. So certain and not when you hatch them. So certain Pokemon right now, there isn't a way for them to get EVs. Like for instance, the starter Pokemon. Because the only way to get them is to hatch them from eggs, there's not currently a way in the game for them to gain EVs. I know the dev has said he's working on that, and they're kind of throwing around different ideas for how to implement that. But it's not a thing yet. So right now, only Pokemon that can be caught can gain EVs. Caught in the wild, I should say. Kinda like real Poke... Yeah, kinda. And it's also permanent. Like, it doesn't... Once the Pokemon's caught it, it never goes away. For the first little bit, it's your EV gain is exponential, which is nice, and then after a while they become resistant. But all that means is that it becomes your attack gain becomes linear instead of exponential. So theoretically, you can keep gaining EVs and keep gaining attack forever. It's just your rate of return gets smaller and smaller. He started building a version of that which actually tracked EVs and levels. Goodness. That sounds nifty, but also a lot of work. Oh, right. Okay, yeah. It's linear up to 50, and then it becomes logarithmic after that. So, yeah, the effect is the same, that after 50, your gains become much, much less per EV gained. But yes, thank you for the clarification. I read over that page in the wiki, and it was a lot of math, so I grasped the basics of it, but a lot of the specific maths went in one ear and out the other. Gotta get those gains, bring on the protein powders. Those are in the game too. They just become very expensive after a while, because the price goes up the more you buy of them. Yep, that's pretty much it, Dobby. If it's actively got Poke Rust, go catch more of it. If it's resistant to Poke Rust, then you're done with it. It'll still keep gaining EVs, but only very slowly, so you don't have to try. Nope, I need to actually tie that off. With like a real knot and everything. Alright, and that is just about 2 o'clock. Yeah, proteins get a straight bonus to attack every time you hatch one. Calcium increases the percentage bonus to attack, and the carbos reduce the egg steps, so basically make it hatch faster. But each Pokemon can only consume a certain number of vitamins. You can't keep feeding them unlimited amounts. And the more vitamins you buy, the more expensive they get. So as in any good incremental game, it's all about the balance. Alright, there we go. Vitamin D is also good. You should consume that, Kitsune. But only the recommended amounts. Yes, take meds if you need to. Oh, the vitamin cost has a cap? Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, so that'll do it for today. It is now 2 o'clock. Thank you for joining in with me. I've gotten a fair amount done here. I will be back on Tuesday and Wednesday nights with Final Fantasy 15. I'm actually going to go upload last week's VODs now, because I forgot to Thursday night and Friday night when I meant to. So those should be going up on YouTube soon. And I'll have new ones streaming on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then I'll be back next Sunday with more of this. Yeah, so thank you very much. What happened to that Carby? Oh yeah, we keep force-feeding vitamins down its throat until the protoform came out. I mean, that sounds distressingly plausible, to be honest. Let's see who's up to raid. Probably just Surge. Plan B. Actually, I'm gonna throw you at Window to Wildlife, because they could always use more support and more viewers. They do a lot of good conservation things. And they've got eagle nests on cam right now. So go take a look at some cute feathered friends. And I will see you guys later on.